Now, first impressions with clients counts big time in our online service-based industry. And if you've gotten off on the wrong foot with a client, I promise that not all has failed, that you can still actually recover from having a really bad first impression with a client. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my exact tips for how I got out of a really bad situation. And I'm also going to be sharing with you what that situation was, what it looked like, and what I did when I onboarded that client and gave them the worst first impression that they've ever had. Welcome, I'm Sarah Noked, and I have successfully scaled my own service-based business to multi-six figures with freedom and flexibility, and I want to help you do the same. So if you are wanting to uplevel your service-based business, then stick around because I've got some serious tips and tricks to share with you on this YouTube channel. So you might be sitting on the edge of your seat thinking to yourself, what in the world did Sarah do to screw up that first impression with that new client that she onboarded in her OBM business? And brace yourselves, I deleted her entire cPanel and subsequent website with no backups. Yes, that was the moment in my career where my heart sunk and I thought to myself, what have I done? I have deleted this woman's website, and she is a new client and she's never worked with me before, and this was the first thing that she had me do, and I was supposed to just figure out what was going on with her cPanel and start to organize the management pieces around her website. And now I've got a client with no website, no backup, and how am I going to explain this to her, and how will I eloquently move on from this traumatizing experience? Now, if you have had an experience like this, you know how disheartening it can feel and how disappointed the client can be when you reveal what you have done. And we all make mistakes. And in today's video, I want to share with you some of my tips on how I was able to overcome this, but not just overcome this, actually prevail and create more of a trusting bond with that client. So naturally, when you start off on the wrong foot with a client and you do something like I did where you deleted their entire website, you gotta fess up. You gotta come clean and you gotta be held accountable for what you did. That is just part of the responsibility of not only being a business owner, but working with high-end clients. And you need to accept the fact that you're going to be uncomfortable for a period of time when the client is maybe upset, maybe the client is shocked. But you know what? At the end of the day, you have to remember one important thing, and that is hashtag no small babies were harmed. So this is actually something that we do in our own internal business inside Sarah Noked OBM, but also this is something that I do on all the teams that I work on. I put into perspective what we have done. So I deleted your website, might have deleted the cPanel, so we've got no backups, but you know what? No small babies were harmed. And that immediately, puts things into perspective that what we're dealing with here is not a life or death situation. We have the means and resources to make it right. Is it the best thing that happened? No. But have worse things happened? Absolutely. And let's just be happy that nothing else has happened. So when you can have this conversation with your client from the perspective of positivity, overcoming things, dealing with challenging situations, what this signals to the client is that not only are you accountable and responsible, but you're also willing to make things right, and you are of that mindset that things can be made right and it's not really a big deal. And that immediately brings down the client's stress level to a level that is manageable. So once you overcome that difficult conversation of, oh my God, look what I did, then you and the client can move on together and crack out a plan that really works for both of you to make it right. So it brings me to my next tip, which is naturally having a plan. But here's the thing, guys, you want to have that plan before you have the conversation with the client. That client might think, wow, I've hired the best service-based support professional. They are confessing to me, we're going to work on this together. But reality is that you already have the plan in motion, in mind, and you're helping to sort of collaborate on a plan, but I want you to actually to have that plan in mind. When I deleted the cPanel for my client, I was like, what am I gonna do? I have no backup for this website. I've got nothing to work with. I'm not even sure what that website looked like. Yes, it wasn't a huge website, but there were multiple pages and graphics and pictures, and oh my God, I'm gonna have to spend my own money to build this website from scratch, which is what I essentially had to do. But when you start to get resourceful and when you're like, okay, this is my responsibility, I'm gonna manage this, you really do start to think outside the box. And suddenly I remembered this amazing website called Wayback playback machine. And I used to use this, I don't even know how I found it years ago in my endeavors online, but this website is a really cool website that shows you what web pages used to look like. And I think I was just doing it out of curiosity. Like I was looking at what client websites looked like way back when. And I was like, suddenly I was like, this is exactly what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna go to the Wayback Playback machine, see what this website looked like, and literally have my designer and my web developer crack it out and just move on and make sure that you have proper backups in place. And moving forward, this is never gonna happen again in my business, because anytime I do anything to a website, I'm gonna make sure that we have a standard operating procedure that covers how to back up a website before you make any significant changes. So here I am now with a plan. I'm approaching the client. I'm like, look, dear client, I know I screwed this up. # no small babies are harmed. Here's what we're gonna do to make it right. And that client was like, great, thank you. I'm so happy that you have a plan. We're on the same page. I feel like I am in good hands. And guess what, guys? We had a more trusting relationship after that, because she knew that not only was I not gonna, bail ship when things got hard, but that I was gonna come up with these creative, awesome ideas for how to get ourselves out of a pickle when these things happened. And we got out of that pickle. My web designer built that wireframe and all the stuff, and the developer was able to put the website together based off the Wayback Playback machine screenshot from like 100 years ago, and we all moved on with our lives. But I made it right on my own dime. And this is the other thing that is really important with our clients, is that if you've made a mistake and it's on you, you have to make it right. You have to make it right, and that is the best way to change that gnarly first impression that you've made with a client, because they know that no matter what happens, you will get them out of that pickle. So by me taking some money out of my pocket to make things right, to fix a mistake that my team and I had made, then I'm going to really essentially solidify an even better relationship with that client moving forward. But you have to make it right. And you have to use that as an opportunity to have an open, honest conversation with the client around expectations and around your level of commitment. The client wants to be working with a committed freelancer, service support provider, and you can help make that happen if you approach this mistake with creativity, with solutions, and with the financial resources to make it right. Because if you've made something wrong and you've done something detrimental in somebody's business, you can fix it. Now, the cherry on the cake was the little extra bit of effort that I made to ensure that these things wouldn't happen again. So when I approached the client with the solution and we fixed it, afterwards I said to her, look, I don't want this ever to happen in your business again. So I've put in place a standard operating procedure, the same one I put in my own business, into her business as well, to make sure that anytime any changes had happened to her website, a backup was taken beforehand. It's as simple as taking a backup beforehand. And when we had baked that into the procedures and policies in her business, well, now not only have I done right in her business, but now I've safeguarded future freelancers, future online service providers who come into her business who maybe make mistakes similar to the mistakes that I made. Because you know what, guys, mistakes happen. They do. So in this case now, I'm providing her with solutions for what she can do moving forward in her business so that these things don't happen again. And now I'm able to not only give her the best service and fix the mistake that I made, but I'm actually giving her longevity in her business by ensuring that these crazy things don't happen again. Now, at this point in the video, I've shared some tips with you on how you can really remedy a bad situation with a client and essentially fix that bad first impression. So now I want you to go ahead and watch this next video.